Hello, Bob Ross here. Thank you so much for joining us for the Joy of Painting today. Me and my friend Peapod, the pocket squirrel, we have a great plan for today's landscape. We are going to do a wintry, cold landscape, so I want you to get your jacket, put it on, because it's going to get cold in this studio today. Right, Peapod? You ready? All right. Well, first of all, I think Peapod would be a lot happier down here, so I'm going to put my pocket squirrel down there. And I want to explain to you, folks at home, I want to let you know what is on my palette right now. So I have some titanium white, I have some midnight black, little Prussian blue, Van Dyke brown, little runny Van Dyke brown, a little bit of burnt sienna, and some candium red. So that's what you're going to want to get for this cold, wintry scene today. Okay. The other thing that you're going to want to get are your brushes. So I have here a little blender brush. It's also called a chubby brush. So that should be in your kit. So you're going to want to pull that out. You're going to have what's called a flat brush. So it's very flat on top. So when you hear me reference the flat brush, that's what you're going to want to get. There. And a nice round brush. All right, so make sure you have all those things out and ready. And of course, you're going to want to have a paper towel or a cloth and a little bit of water. So I think we're ready to go. Ready, Peapod? Let's do it. All right, so the first thing you want to do is you want to get your nice chubby brush, and you're going to take, just going to pull down a little bit of that titanium white, okay? And we're going to put that on our canvas, just a quick, light little brushing. That way, when we go ahead and start blending in our clouds and trees and stuff, it's going to look real pretty. All right, there. Just like that. All right, just really quick. Don't be afraid to get it all over, because we want it all over that canvas. Might need a little bit of more white. All right, just back and forth, swoosh, 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 just like that. All right, so I think we are ready to go. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to take this black here, and I'm going to add a little bit of blue to it, just to flavor it, just a little bit. All right, so here we go. This is going to be our background sky. All right, so I think I'll start over here. You start wherever you want. I think we need a little bit more blue. You start wherever you want. This is your painting. You'd get to decide where things live. All right, so I'm doing the sky now. Just back and forth, back and forth. Just have fun with it. Each time I do this painting, it turns out a little bit different each time. All right, so I'm going to dry off my brush. That's how we blend. I'm going to dry it off and just go back and forth like that. Just really quick, back and forth. Maybe a little bit more over here. Wipe it off if it's picking up too much paint. And just blend it in. Very light, like you're barely touching the canvas. Okay, so I think we're ready. All right, now we're going to do the water down here. We're going to use that same exact color, a little bit of black and some of that Prussian blue. Mostly it's the black. We just want to flavor it a little bit with that blue. We're going to come on down here and we're going to do water. Now, if you've ever watched one of my episodes before, you know that I'm crazy about water. Maybe just crazy, but definitely crazy about water. All right, I love water. Water is awesome. Okay, so I'm just going to put that in. Just lightly brushing the canvas. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. All right, let's do it on the other side. Just the same color as the sky. This is a gray, cold winter scene. All right, we're just going to leave a little highlight in the middle there. All right, so I think we're ready. Ready to do our cloud. So again, we're going to use the same color, just a little bit darker if you have to. You can mix some more. Mostly it's that black, just a little bit of that blue. All right, I think I'm going to start my clouds over here in the right corner, but again, you start wherever you want. Everyone sees nature differently. You see it in your own unique way, so you paint it in your own unique way. All right, so I get my clouds in there. What I'm doing is I'm dab, dab, dabbing, tap, 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 tap. Where's it going? Maybe it's going up. Let's make that cloud go up. All right, a little bit more. That's the black and the blue. Oh yeah, there we go. Tap, 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 tap. That looks like a nice storm's rolling in there. Maybe go down a little bit. Tap, 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 tap. Yeah, let's make it go down here. You decide. Okay, so always rinse off your brush. I like to whack it on my easel here. Make sure all of it's kind of out of there. Okay. So now I like to I'm going to take either my flat brush or a little round brush, and I'm going to go back in here and kind of define those clouds just a little bit more. So I like to make, sometimes when that storm's rolling in, those clouds are really angry. They roll in, so you're going to see the nice dark clouds coming in behind those lighter clouds. So I'm going to go ahead and tap, 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 get some contrast in there, just like right in here. That's what I'm trying to mimic. My earlier painting, just tap, tap, tap. Oh, I can feel it, it's getting cold here. Just have fun with it. Make those fluffy, beautiful clouds. They look beautiful. You don't care if it's a winter scene, it's still absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so now I'm going to rinse this brush. Go back to my little chubby blender brush. Now I'm going to start blending a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and go back and forth very, very lightly. I'm just going to blend those clouds into the background just a little bit. You can make little swirly marks, make them look more cloudish, cloud-like. A little bit of white wanted to be in there. We're going to let it stay. Whatever happens, happens. It's going to look fantastic. Okay, so I think I have my clouds, and I am ready to start putting in some mountains. Let's have some fun. All right, I'm going to take a flat brush. You can also use your round brush. It's up to you. And I'm going to mix up on my palette. I'm going to take all these colors except for the white, and I'm going to start mixing them up together. It's not going to be just a black mountain. There's going to be a lot of depth to this mountain. So we're going to take some of the dark brown, Van Dyke brown, the blue, the black, and we're just going to mix it right up here in the middle of our palette. I'm going to try to mix up a lot of it because I'm going to be using this a lot. A little bit of this brown, more blue. I want it to kind of have kind of dark brown purplish tones to it. So I'm going to take a little bit of this candy and red. There we go, that's looking really good. That's it. All right, so now, the most important thing about the mountains is this top dark edge here. So I think I'm going to start with this mountain range right here. I'm going to lay in the outline, just whoosh it down. Load my brush up again. Now we're going to do the other side. Just whoosh it down. Just have fun with it. All right, and I think we need another mountain over here because everyone needs a friend, even a mountain. So let's really make that outline dark. Try to get it on the tip of your brush there. There we go, that's better. All right, so I'm going to whoosh it down. And then over here, maybe another one. Make sure, like I said, it's mostly the outline. You want the outline to be really nice and dark. All right, so now I'm going to take my brush and I'm going to go ahead and pull down. The outline is the most important thing. We could care less what happens below that mountain. All the magic's going to happen at the top. All So let's blend that mountain in a little bit. Always rinse, rinse, rinse your brushes so they don't dry with that paint on them. Okay, so I'm going to take my nice blender brush, and I'm just going to soften this edge a little bit. Make sure it's dry though. Kind of work up from the base, up, 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 up. Okay, so that's going to be the start to our mountains. Okay, now, we don't have a palette knife today, but in your kits you should have a nice little angled piece of cardboard that's going to serve as our palette knife. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put some more white on here, and I'm going to use that palette knife to do some snow. Nice cold snow. All right, so here's how we're going to do snow. All right, you're going to pull out that white, and then just kind of cut across so you have a nice little bead on the end of your cardboard palette knife here. So let's start right here. So I'm gonna start at the top, so lay it down. I like to wiggle it a little bit, but you're barely touching the surface. You wanna try and get some of the background to show through. All right, so cut across, pull it out as much as you can, and then just cut across to get a little bead on the top. All right, let's start right here. Barely touching the surface. Just wiggle it a little bit. Back and, oh, that looks good. Oh, that looks like snow. All right. Maybe a little bit more right here. All right. So sometimes I like to go in here with my brush, just add it. If it's a really small area, instead of using the little palette knife, I can do that. All right. All right, so now we're gonna create the shadow on our nice big strong mountain. So we're going to do that. We're gonna use I'm gonna use the flat brush to kind of mix up a color over here. So blue, white, just maybe a touch of that red. Definitely some of the mountain color in there, just to kind of gray it down a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that ready there. Mix it up. I think it needs to be just a little bit darker. This is going to be the shadow on the left side of our mountain here. Big, gorgeous shadow. So now I'm going to go back to my palette knife here. I like to just bend it just a little bit. That kind of helps. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pick up that shadow color, pull it out, kind of cut across to get a nice bead on there. All right, we're going to start right here at the top of our mountain, and we're going to go on down like this. Remember, just wiggle it back and forth a little bit, and barely touching the surface, and then you get that nice broken look, which makes it look like snow. Okay, so let's do that again. Okay, let's do it over here. This is the shadow. A swoosh. Oh, that looks good. I'm going to leave that just the way it is. All right, so we have a nice shadow on our mountain. I'm going to use a brush. I like to go back in and kind of touch things up a little bit. So I'm going to go on in here and just kind of bring that shadow in here. And let's see, everything else looks pretty good, but I think I need a little bit more white on some parts of the mountain. A little bit more snow. You decide if it needs a little touching up or not. That is completely up to you. That is your decision. All right, so I think that mountain right there is good. So just because we had so much fun with that mountain, let's go ahead and do the other mountain. So we're going to use this mountain color here. I think I need to mix up a little bit more. And remember, it's all the colors except for white. So I'm going to use black, a little bit of blue, some of this dark brown and the light brown, everything except for the white. And I'm just going to mix it up in a small circle like that so I don't waste the paint. Dip it in the red. I like to get tones of purple in there. Yeah, there we go. That's looking really good. Looking yummy. All right. So try to get that paint on the tip of your brush. We're going to put in a second mountain range. This mountain is going to be a little bit closer than the other mountain, so it's going to be a little bit bigger. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and start right here. And again, it's the outline of the mountain that's the most important. So whoosh, just kind of whoosh it down. Just have fun with it. Just like that. It's going to come down in front of that other mountain. Let's do another one. Maybe another one right there. Just a little bump. And just kind of pull that paint down. Just pull it down like that. Doesn't really matter what's happening at the base of our mountain. Okay. So I'm going to go in and do a little bit more outline up here, because again, our outline is the most important part. That's the part you're going to still see. I kind of twirl my brush to kind of get it more towards the tip and to kind of reshape the brush there. Sometimes we get a lot of paint up there in the ferrule and we got to kind of fix that a little bit. Okay, so I think we are ready to put our snow back on it. Alright, so I'm going to find my little palette knife here. Bend it just a little bit, that kind of helps. Alright, pull out some color. I'm not going to mix it in with that shadow color. And cut across to get a little bead on there. Alright, so let's do this. Let's start right here. And just pull it down. Oh, there we go. Get some nice breaks in there. That makes it look just like snow. Alright. Pull out your white. Kind of cut across to get a little bead on there. Just gently, like you're barely touching the surface. Oh, that's perfect. So if you missed a little bit of this mountain over here, this is the same exact steps. So you can just duplicate what I'm doing here right now. All right, just a little tiny bit on that peak right there. All right, so I think that I am done with the snow on the mountains. Now I gotta get that shadow in, so I'm gonna mix up some more of that shadow color. And again, that is going to be some white, a little bit of blue, and just a little touch of that mountain color, which later on is also going to be our tree color. This is what we call a monochromatic color scheme. We're all using the same base color and just lightening it a little bit, or adding black to dark. Monochromatic. A little bit more blue. Alright, so I think I'm good to go. Kind of get off that excess. Rinse my brush really well. Alright, so let's get this right now. I think I'll use this one. Okay, so I like to bend it a little bit, kind of pull it out, and cut across to get a nice little bead on it. Alright, so let's start right here. Just kind of wiggle it up and down a little bit. Oh, there we go, that looks gorgeous. Alright, pull across, get a bead on there. And again, just wiggle it a little bit. We want to get some breaks in that snow because that's what really makes it look like snow. Alright, let's do this right here. I think I have my kind of pointing the wrong way right now. It still worked. Alright, so that's good. Alright, so let's touch this up a little bit. Just get a little bit of more white in there. think we got our second mountain range in. Now we're going to add a little bit of mist. Alright, so first we got to blend this in. So I'm going to take my clean blender brush and I'm going to pull up from the base, just like that, just a little bit. We're just trying to blend it in. Eventually it's going to look like mist at the bottom of those mountains. Okay, and to make it look really misty, we're going to add a little bit of white, just going to dab it in there. Dab, 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 tap, tap, tap. All right, before we get any farther, we're going to have a little bit of sun peeking out from behind that stormy cloud. So we're going to get some of our white here, and we're going to just dab it right on top of this cloud, right about there, to make it look like the sun is trying to shine through those dark stormy clouds. You know, I used to live in Alaska. I lived there for about a dozen years or so, and we saw lots of beautiful, gorgeous landscapes like this. Mountains all the time. People love mountains. I don't know of anyone that doesn't love mountains. So we're just going to smoosh it in there, just like that. Smoosh in that white, and then you can also just make it look like there's rays of sun coming out from behind that cloud, just very, very ever so lightly. I'm using my flat brush right now to do this. All right, gorgeous. Maybe just a little bit down here too. All right, so now we've got our sun trying to shine through, got our mountains. So now let's put some trees at the base of this mountain here. Some happy little trees. At the base of the mountain, it'll kind of give us a little bit more depth. So I'm going to take a flat brush. I'm just going to pick up some of that mountain color. We're going to put our trees right here. Just tap, tap, tap them in. If you were skiing, this is where you want to ski. Right there in between those pine trees. Just tap them in. Hopefully not into the pine trees though. That's what I would do. Good thing I'm a painter and not a skier. Alright. So now, to make those look more like pine trees, we're going to just pull up like so. I think I'm going to get my other brush. Just pull up. Just a little bit. Just to blur them, make them look more like trees at the base of that mountain. Just pulling them up, tap, tap, tap. All right, so we have some nice pine trees in the distance there on our big old snowy mountain. All right, there we go. Okay, use my flat brush again. Oh, there it is. Forgot it was behind me. All right, I'm going to use the same color. Just kind of do what's called double loading, get a little bit of white on it. Just on the corner. A little bit of this mountain color. All right, we're going to start right here. We're going to put a reflection in. So just tap, pull down. Tap, pull down. If it's a little bit dry, just get a little bit of water there. Tap across, pull down, straight down. This is going to be our mountain reflection. Just pull it straight down. If you want some more highlights in there, if it's getting dry, add a little bit of water. So I'm going to get some weight in there, just a little bit. You don't want to overdo it. Sometimes it gets to feeling so good you don't want to stop, but you don't want to overdo it. Alright, so let's make them look more like reflections. I'm going to take my blender brush here, I'm just going to drag it across. That's going to make it look blurry, like there's waves in that reflection. Here we go. Just drag it across just a little bit. You don't want to overdo it. The next step, let's put in a little bit of shoreline in here. course, that's going to be a snowy shoreline. I think actually I'm going to use my little palette knife to do this with. Just kind of pull out the white, make it really nice and flat, and then drag it across so you have a little bead on there. And then just tap, 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 as if there's a little bit of snow kind of accumulated on that shoreline back there. Just a hint of a shoreline, a hint of a reflection. Maybe it's coming out a little bit. All right, there we go. Reflections on the mountains. All right, let's start having some real fun here. Let's get some trees in here. So I'm going to go ahead and use my round brush for that. I'm going to use that mountain color. If you need to, you can mix up a little bit more. It's just the black, a little bit of blue. Can't have a landscape without trees, can we? A little bit of red. All right, let's mix that up really well. Let's put our first tree in right about here. So we're just going to start off with the trunk. I'm going to pull it down. Now I'm going to go ahead and use a flat brush to put in those branches, those boughs, those nice pine boughs. So I'm going to use a nice flat brush, dip it in my mountain color, which is now also my tree color. And I'm just going to start from the top, start off really small, and just work our way down, 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 down. Just pull those little branches down. They're all weighted with snow. And I like to put a little bit of space in my pine trees here, so let's just make this just the trunk, because trees aren't perfect. They're like people, definitely not perfect. I know I'm not perfect. Just back and forth, down, down, down. Let's get a little bit more black in there. More blue. Paint's drying up a little bit. Happy little pine tree right there in our landscape. All right, so this guy can't be alone. We gotta put in some more trees here. I think I'll start with my round brush, put in the trunk. Right about here. It's got the blue, it's got the brown in it. Just a touch of red, just like the mountains. Basically the same color. Monochromatic color scheme. All right, I think we're good to go there. I'm going to use a flat brush. Kind of like a fan brush. A fan brush would work better, but this is what we have available to us. So we are going to make our branches with a flat brush. So just tap, tap, tap. Make sure those boughs are really irregular, because nature is not symmetric. It's the beauty of nature, is that it's kind of all over the place. There's no definite defined pattern most of the time. Just tap, tap, tap those branches in. All right. And shoot, let's put in another tree right next to it. If you've made one tree, you can make 1,000 trees. That's one thing about this style of painting I really like, is you get lots and lots of practice. And eventually I'll put another one here, and probably another one. As we'll lay them all out. flat brush. And this is the fun part, making it look like a tree. Just tap, tap, tap. Make those branches kind of start to point down. Be careful you don't make them look like those Christmas trees you see in the Christmas tree lot. Make them look real by varying those branches and boughs. It's going to get thicker as it gets farther down. All right. Just back and forth, just really quick, tap, tap, tap. Does not have to be perfect. I think I'm going to switch to one of my round brushes. All right, so now I'm using a round brush. I think I like that better. That tree has lots of friends, that's good. So like I said, everyone needs friends. Alright, so now we got our trees in over here. Let's do some reflections because these trees are going to be in water. So we're just going to very quickly put these guys in. Just, it can be a super quick little shadow. It doesn't have to be perfect because it is going to be a reflection. Just back and forth really quickly. Kind of mimicking the shape, but backwards. Load my brush up again, get some more in there. Alright, so let's make that into a reflection. I'm just going to start off by pulling down just to blur it just a little bit. Just so we have a hint of a reflection there. And then of course we're going to pull this way. Maybe get just a touch of white in there. Just pull that paint across. All right, so we have our reflections right there. I'm just going to touch this up. I'm a little crazy with my reflections there. I think I went out into the middle. Drag some paint across. Get some highlights in there. Oh, that's good. Right there. Okay, so now I think we're ready to work on the trees on the other side. So same process. Bigger tree, because it's closer to us. A little blue in there. Some brown. Just a touch of the red. I like to twirl my brush so it gets really nice and sharply pointed like that. Alright, so where are we going to put our tree? I think we're going to put it right about here. Looks good. And then maybe another one right here. Tap, tap, tap. And then just kind of zigzag your way down. Back and forth. Whoa. This tree kind of go page a little bit, off our canvas, I mean. Nice, big, strong pine tree at the base of the mountains. Here's the trunk, coming out from the trunk. And it's going to get thicker as it gets down towards the base. All right, there, just like that. Let's get this other tree over here. We don't want to ignore him. We don't want that tree getting mad at us. That would be no good. Just kind of imply the branches there. Okay, so now we're ready to make those look. Actually, I think before we put snow on those trees, we're going to do some bushes. I think we need some bushes here at the base of these trees. So I'm just going to use this mountain/tree color here, and I'm going to go ahead and start putting in some bushes, nice snowy bushes there. Just with my little blender brush, just get some nice little bushes in there. Okay, and let's get some over here. Just have fun with it. In your world, you get to decide where those bushes go. So what are they doing? What should I do? I think I'll make them go down. There they go. Where are they going? Going down just a little bit. All right. So I think we got our bushes in there. Okay, so let's cover these bushes with a little bit. I'm going to dip into my white with my blender brush. Make sure I don't have too much. And just kind of twirl it. It's the nice thing about this kind of brush. It's got a round handle, so you can just twirl it as you go. Get some nice bushes in there. Nice snow-colored bird. I swear, it's dropped at least 10 degrees in this studio since I started this cold winter scene. All right, let's do another one right here. Kind of just pull up a little bit, make it look like a snow-colored tree. Just kind of implying that it's there. There we go, that looks good. Now, let's put some land in here on the right side where those trees are. I'm going to use a flat brush for that. I'm going to get some white here. We're going to make a little snowbank that's accumulated right here. Just whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A little bit of a snowbank. Comes around just a little bit. And let's use our cardboard palette knife, pull out some white, kind of go across like that. Let's just put a little bit of a line right there, just as if the snow is coming out on the ice. All right, there we go. All right, let's move on to the next step. I think that we need to put a little bit of snow on those trees. So we're going to use this color right here, but I need to mix up a little bit more. So some blue, some black, a little bit of white. Oh, there we go, nice gray color, maybe just a touch of red. Don't want it too light, definitely don't want it too dark. Here, we're just going to very gently, very lightly, just tap in some highlights a little bit of snow, as if there's just a tiny bit of snow on those trees. You don't want to overdo it. Just make it look like they're just a little bit snow covered. A little bit over here. Again, we don't want to forget these trees over here. All right. So I think we are ready to finish this thing up. Let's put some nice branches in these bushes here, a little bit over here, just just a hint. It's a brush right there. Just a hint. It's a brush right there. Go ahead. I think I would like to live here, wouldn't you? So let's put a little cabin in here. I know I would like to live in this gorgeous scenery here. So we're going to take some of our brown, our dark brown, and we're just going to block in a little cabin right about here. Just go ahead and block it in really quick where you want it to go. So now let's get a round brush here, add a little white, mix it up. We're going to make it look like this little cabin has some boards on it. So go ahead and take your round brush and put those boards in any old way you want. This is where you get to decide. Black to kind of define the roof. Need to have a door in our cabin. A little door there. Some highlights just to make it stand out a little more. A little doorknob. Get some whites in there. Oh, that looks good. Little cabin at the base of the mountains. All right, so let's get some snow in this little cabin here. Let's use one of our cardboard palette knives here. Let's see. Okay. All right, so let's get some snow here, right on this side. And remember, barely touching the surface when you're laying on the snow. Just like that. A little bit down on this side. Touch that up a little bit. It's like the snow is melting right off the top of that cabin there. So let's get some snow in there. This is a summer cabin, so nobody's come here to shovel out the snow in front of our cabin for a long time. But in the summer, it'll get lots of use. And let's just put a nice old snowbank right up there. Let's just scrape it on there. Scrape, scrape, scrape. I have to go from the bottom up a little bit. So there's a big old snowbank in front of our cabin. All right, I think we need some bushes in here to finish this up. A few more snow-covered bushes right here at the base of our cabin. Okay, there we go. We have our cold winter scene with our cabin. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and feel free to send us pictures of your work. We would love to see them. Thanks for joining us today for the Joy of Painting. Bye-bye.